Hello, everyone. My name is Siavash Radpour, Relab's Associate Research Director at the Schwartz Center for Economic Policy Analysis, SCEPA. I'm here today with the visiting scholar and strategic advisor to SCEPA, Dr. John Irons, to talk about the new jobs report that came up today. So the headline unemployment rate has gone significantly down from 10.2% to 8.4%. For older workers, these numbers are down from 8.8% to 7.7%. But still, the unemployment gap between older workers and those who are slightly younger, from 45 to 54, has increased from 1 percentage point to 1.5. And it seems like older workers are having a difficult time finding employment during this ongoing pandemic. Another unemployment gap that's widening is the unemployment gap between white workers and black workers. John, what do you think about that?
Yeah, thanks, Sia. I think everyone is very curious to see what the path of recovery is looking like. Is it going to bounce back quickly? Is it going to be more slowly? And how is it going to impact different communities? And so I think you're exactly right that there's different gaps that are opening up. You mentioned older workers. When you look across race, when the recession first really started, when there was a shutdown, I think you saw widespread unemployment. Both white Americans as well as Black and African Americans all got hit pretty hard. Since then, you've seen an unequal recovery, right? At the moment, you see the white American unemployment rate continuing to fall significantly. It's down to 7.3% this month. But for Black and African Americans, you see that the unemployment is coming down, but more slowly. And then you see a gap widening up there with the Black African American unemployment rate at 13%, which is about a 5 percentage point gap, which is unfortunate. You'd like to see everyone get back to work at the same pace, but you see this gap opening up, which is consistent somewhat with past recessions, where the unemployment rate for Black or African Americans has gone up more than for white Americans. And unfortunately, we're seeing the same pattern again today.
Thank you. It seems like there are a number of people who are still losing their jobs. Like we see that unemployment benefit claims are still at very high level. So there seems to be an imbalance between people like losing their jobs or people who were on temporary leave, losing their jobs permanently, and people getting back to work. Do you think there is a trend there?
I do, and I think what we're seeing is a tension today between a lot of people who are coming back off of temporary layoffs, and I think that's driving the big increase in the number of jobs we've seen month over month. At the same time, you're seeing more permanent decreases in jobs. So some people are being laid off in a more permanent way. We've seen this recently with the layoff of airline pilots at United Airlines and others. So it's really this tension between the two. In particular, you see this in the temporary layoff numbers in this month's report. You saw roughly an increase in about 3 million people who are coming back from temporary job layoffs. At the same time, you see an increase of about 500,000 people who have permanently lost their jobs. So you see that tension both in those raw numbers, but also when you look across industries.
Is there an industry story? Do you think there are industries that are hiring more people and like more people are getting back to work compared to other industries?
Yeah, definitely. It's consistent with that temporary layoff versus permanent job loss tension that I mentioned. The industries that are really showing up strong in these reports are those that were the weakest. Retail, transportation, some in leisure and hospitality, food services, restaurants. Those that are hit hardest are the ones that are showing the largest job gains month over month. Now, they're still down significantly from pre-COVID, but that's where you're seeing the strength in these numbers. When you look outside those that have been hit hardest, you're seeing kind of a mixed bag. Some modest increases, some declines, and so I think you're seeing like those that are hit the hardest are doing the best, but across the board, you still see some weakness.
So what are we looking for in the future, in the upcoming month?
Well, what I think I'm going to be looking for, not just next month, but in the coming months, is really to focus on the government side of things. I think we've seen a little bit of strength on the federal government side that might be census driven, but I'm worried about state and local governments. I'm worried about their finances going forward. They're taking a big hit because of COVID. They have balanced budget requirements. They're going to have to balance their budget. And without aids from the federal government, without some assistance, you're going to see layoffs of firefighters, teachers, local government across the board. So we haven't seen that yet, but that's what I'm really worried about for the future. So that's what I'm going to be focused on.
Thank you so much, John, for being here with us today.
Great, thanks, Ian, and good to talk with you as well.